Roxana with 160 Driving Academy. Today we'll be doing the lab test, which is the leaks, alarms, and buttons, okay? So be sure to tell your examiner that before you do anything and perform anything, that you'll be doing the lab test, which is the leaks, alarms, and buttons, okay? Now, make sure you give your air system time to build up to the normal pressure, okay, which is the 120 to the 140 psi. If it's not at that point, what you do is hold down on the clutch all the way to the floor and accelerate just a tad bit to build your air pressure up, okay? Now, if it's already at the correct air pressure, there's no need to do this. All right. Now, the first thing you'll be doing is you're going to be turning off your truck, okay? So, with these keys, there's only one click. There goes one click, and then it has a second click. If you've gone down to the second click, then you messed up already, okay? So I want you to get to the key and do one click, okay? See, this is the wrong click. You see that? So make sure you're at that one click, okay? Once you're at that one click, then you're gonna turn it just to the on position where your gauges turn on and your AC should turn on as well, okay? Now you can remove your foot off the brake and the clutch, okay? Always making sure that your brakes are still in by just looking at them and your gear is still in first gear, all right? Now, you'll do the same concept except for the automatics, which all you'll be doing is taking your foot off of the brake. That is it. That's the only difference in the automatic. All right. So now, and your gear is in neutral. All right. Now, the first thing is the leaks. Okay. Apply moderate pressure to the service brake and checking that you lose no more than 4 psi within 1 minute for a combination vehicle. If you use those hand gestures, you will not go wrong. All right, so now I will apply my foot on the brake by not slamming all the way to the floor. I only barely push on it, okay? Barely, where you feel that little tension, okay? Now, once you do that, you'll automatically start counting to the 60 seconds, okay? Which is that 1 minute, all right? So, once you say 60, I want you to remove your foot and set it to the side, all right? Now, or you can use a timer as well, okay? But when you use a timer, you have to make sure you show him when you're pushing start, and once you push that start button, put your foot on that brake, all right? Now, we'll be doing the alarms, okay? I'm gonna be pumping down on to check that my low air pressure warning light or buzzer come on at or before 55 psi, okay? So now I'm gonna go ahead and push down on the brakes while looking at my screen here when the alarm or buzzer come on. Once you see that, you see how it came on? Right there, all right? So then you see where the air pressure is? It's before or at 55 psi, all right? So you're good to go on that. Then you can say, my alarms are working properly. Now you will check your buttons, okay? While you're doing your buttons, all I want you to do is look to the side of the buttons or the top of the buttons, whichever you can see, because sometimes they're like this, sometimes they're right here like this next to each other. Either the side or the top of the buttons. Do not touch your buttons or anything, okay? Now, I will say the buttons. I'll be doing my buttons now. I will continue pumping down on my brakes between 20 to 45 psi, at which time both buttons will pop out and my spring brakes engage. So now I'll perform it. I'm gonna put my foot on the brake and start pumping down while I'm looking at the yellow and red buttons. And as you can see, they both popped out, okay? Sometimes you see how very slightly they popped out. Make sure, if you want, that should be enough, okay? Now, once that's done, do not automatically say that you're done, okay? I want you to turn the truck back on by holding the clutch in and the brake, because you still have your gear in first, okay? So once you have your clutch and brake, turn on your truck and make sure you put this back in neutral. All right? Now you can move your foot off the clutch and the brake and start accelerating to build your air pressure back up to the 120 to 40 psi, 120 to 140 psi, or whenever you hear the discharge, okay? Then, once that happens, at that time, while you're waiting for your air pressure to build back up, you think, take a deep breath. Did you perform everything? Okay? Did I lose any air pressure within did I lose any pressure, which is the 4 psi, within that 1 minute? No. Okay, good. You did that one. The alarms. Did my alarms came on? Yes. Okay, so you're good on that one. Did both my buttons popped out? Yes. All right. So now, while you're building your air pressure, you came to a conclusion that you set everything and performed everything right. That's when you can turn around and ask the examiner and let him know that this completes your pre-trip inspection. Now, if for any reason you're like, while you're building the air pressure, and you're like, oh, I forgot to do my alarm and buzzer. Oh, crap. Okay, now you realize while you're building up the air pressure, you forgot to say your alarms, okay? Or your alarm didn't even go off. Then that's when you turn around to the examiner and let him know if you can restart your lab test, which is only the lab test. Make sure when you say that you set everything up to restart that lab test. How do you do that? Like this. Put your foot, well, obviously your air pressure has to be built up, okay? So, clutch in, firmly press on the brakes, okay? All right, now accelerate. I'm gonna accelerate to make sure the air pressure is completely up, okay? It's gonna take a minute, so just be patient, okay? So, this is all about patience, okay? Build up that air pressure until you hear that discharge, or until it gets to the 120 to 140 range. So why are we doing this? Because we're starting all over to do the lab test again. Okay, obviously your buttons are popped out and you've set your gear back in first gear. Back in neutral, I'm sorry. So your gear is in neutral and your brakes are popped out. So while we're building the air pressure, guess what? You will have to wait till you hear that discharge, or until the pressure gets to the 120. Now, you're gonna push your buttons back in and set this back in first gear, okay? Make sure you have your clutch and your brake on, so that way you can put this in first gear. Now, don't forget the last step, which is there's 4 steps in total. Air pressure, buttons, first gear, and you turn off your truck to one click back till your gauges pop out. So 4 steps to redo the lab test again. All right, hopefully this works for you guys, and good luck. Thank you.